What's going on, everybody? It's Chris Classic dropping another car vlog. I have just been comfortable with these. I wanted to talk about a subjective subject. This stems from what a lot of people have been posting about the Elimination Chamber that happened this weekend. But before we go on, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm bringing out fresh content. I'm trying to do things different from everyone else. I'm close to 100 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe. Thank you to the people who are watching and commenting on my content. So I'm going to tell you what inspired this video, and then I'm going to tell you the details about it. So, as everyone knows, Brock Lesnar has become champion again by winning the Elimination Chamber. So a lot of people have been saying a tidbit, because it is Black History Month, that Brock has defeated every black champion to be a champion. Now, I'm not going to go into a smaller thing about basically he didn't pin Bobby. Bobby was injured and quote-unquote eliminated. Get well soon, Bobby, because it's a legit injury. We're not going to go into that. So we're just going to say almost every title match he's been involved with. Well, every title match he's been involved with an African-American champion or black champion, if you want to go that route, he has been victorious. So a lot of people were upset with that, especially with it being Black History Month. A lot of people were upset. Like, why can't we just have a dominant black champion? And you know what? I'm not going to go. I disagree with a lot of people on that, because I thought Lashley did a great job. Now, Big E, we could have said he could have did better, but I was actually happy with what Lashley was doing as a champion. Going into the subject, someone did ask Booker T, how does he feel about Brock Lesnar defeating black champions and becoming champion over them? And he says he's beaten everybody. And Booker T is 100% correct. It's not like Brock lost a lot to other top stars and then just beats black people. Like, don't get me wrong, you have a lot of companies, WWE specifically has an agenda on what they do to certain wrestlers or a certain group of wrestlers. I'm not gonna lie, it's the truth. But Brock is that dude. And when I say that, y'all know what I mean. It doesn't matter if his moveset is different, if he only does 2 or 3 things. He is that dude. This dude has beaten Roman Reigns, has beaten The Undertaker, beaten John Cena, beaten Seth Rollins, beaten Kofi, if you want to put him up there with that. He's beaten some of the greatest. Hulk Hogan. He's beaten some of the greatest wrestlers of all time. If anybody can beat anybody that's on the roster, it's going to be Brock Lesnar. So he was saying it's stupid to say, oh, okay, well, he beats the black guys and gets a champion, because this guy's been dominant since he first started. And that goes into the topic of today. The topic is Brock Lesnar will be one of the greatest wrestlers, WWE wrestlers of all time. Regardless how you feel about the guy, regardless if you feel like he's bad for business, this guy is a great. If he's even before he left and came back, it would have pushed him. He would have been pushed back on the Hall of Fame. But this guy is one of the greats, and I'm going to tell you why. One, besides the monster push that he got being in WWE, he went to UFC, and I'm not going to lie, he didn't have the greatest record in UFC, and his weakness was he could not take a punch. But Dana White, the higher-ups in UFC, they knew that this guy was money. It's the truth. Y'all know it's the truth. You know, he lost his first match against Frank Mir, then after that he dominated for a while. He beat Crazy Horse, I believe that's what his name was, and then that just made him automatically be in title contention. And he mollywopped Randy Couture. Man, that size difference was crazy to me in that match. Did I think he deserved it? No. Was I happy he won? Yeah. I mean, I was a fan of UFC. I still watch it from time to time. But look at what that did. Oh, this dude was a champion of a company, WWE, and they say it's fake wrestling. It's not legit. Then he goes to a sport that many consider legit, and he dominates. He had a couple good title defenses, and then Cain Velasquez happened. what happens. Every dog has their day. So he dominated. He had the illness. I'm not even going to pronounce the illness. I forgot the name of it. Yeah, the illness. He came back. Then he lost again to the Reem. Y'all know who the Reem is. Then he went back to WWE. A lot of people did not think he was going to come back to WWE. A lot of people thought he was done because a lot of people were under the impression, and it was true, that he didn't care or give a crap about wrestling. Then he came back, and it was Suplex City, it was championships, and then a lot of people started to realize, he might not actually be in it to wrestle to have fun. He's just in it for the money. But what you cannot deny is that this guy is legitimate. With wrestling, I think sometimes with wrestling, a lot of people lack legitimacy as a wrestler. I'm not saying that they can't wrestle, it's just the look. I've always had issues, not always had issues, but I had issues with wrestling. And with me being a wrestler, hey, stand up straight. You got to do this. You got to look like that. Suck your gut in. You got to do this. You have to look like a wrestler. And I think a lot of people slack on that aspect of wrestling by not looking like a wrestler. It's to the point that when you're talking to somebody and then you say you're a wrestler, and if they look at you up and down, they don't think that you carry yourself or you look like a wrestler. It's not even about being tall and being 6 foot something and being near 300 pounds. It's not even about that. It's just how you carry yourself and how you look. And don't get me wrong, I know it's harder for the smaller guys because a lot of people think that wrestlers should be over 6 foot tall and stuff like that, but that's not my case that I'm pleading. But when you look at Brock and you can say he's a cage fighter, did UFC, or he did WWE, there's not going to be a lot of people that's going to say wrestling is fake or this, even if he cares about it or not. Now, there are some things that I did not like about that he did as a champion, but I think about it as the old school aspect. When he was the champion at the beginning, a couple times, he wasn't coming on every Raw and every TV show. He wasn't wrestling on every pay-per-view. Now, I would have just had him wrestling on every pay-per-view, but it also added to the mystique of the wrestler. And even old school territory days, you'd get wrestling shows like every 3 months. It wasn't no wrestling every week and stuff like that. And that's kind of why ratings are down a lot, because everybody's doing it, and then every city has a show going on, and then everything is a weekly thing. It's not like a hyped up thing as it used to be. So with Brock being limited with his moveset, which is true, suplex, Kimura lock, F5. When I say suplex, I mean German. It's not much that he does. And then eventually everybody saw it. All right, cool. All he's doing is suplexes. And then he went to Suplex City. So the guy is still marketable, and people still talk about him to this day. You cannot tell me that no UFC, that anybody who watched UFC, they did not transition to watch WWE just for Brock. You have people that watch wrestling if one of their favorite wrestlers or superstars are there. Brock Lesnar is there. If he had fans in UFC, bet your bottom dollar they went to watch it for WWE. That's just like even when Undertaker was wrestling at every WrestleMania. You had people that would buy and watch WrestleMania because Undertaker was there, because they grew up when he was just their favorite character. Brock is up there. I know I've compared Brock and Goldberg to what they've done, but I'd rather have a match with Brock over Goldberg, to be honest with you. That's just me. I mean, the guy still puts on high-profile matches regardless if they're 2 minutes or 20 minutes. The guy is still believable. He's a credible champion, and I know that we're getting Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the 11th time. I know that's not a number, but look it up. But it's money. It's drawing. WrestleMania. People buy tickets to see WrestleMania. Do I think he's going to win? If I had to bet, I would say no. I would think Roman is finally going to get his real head of the table moment, even though he's beaten Brock before and stuff like that. This is what you do. And Brock is, I don't want to say he's up there in age. The guy just still looks like a monster. He still looks credible. He's believability, and that's very important. I'm going to say it again. The aspect of that is that a lot of wrestlers don't do what he do. And we can sit here and we can say, oh, well, they don't want to create new stars and blah, 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 blah. But I don't even think it's time to dim Brock's light yet. Until WrestleMania, you have to have a guy who can beat him credibly. Now, I was happy Bobby Lashley beat him, but we know with the storyline, there's a bigger storyline. And that's the thing. Him beating these guys, with him beating Rock, that was his thing to be in the main event. With him beating Kofi, I hated it. I did. But we got to think about it, that he beat Kofi, dominated Kofi when they had that show in Tokyo. And then he dominated against the New Day when they tried to come in and interfere. Him beating Big E, 5-way, okay, cool. But still, it's just another version of, just another form of a person in a faction of a guy he already beaten Kofi. Lashley, he was injured, unfortunately. And I think that even if he wasn't injured, I think the best thing would have been Brock because of a storyline. I know a lot of people talk about WWE lacks storytelling, but I'm like, this is a story that they're trying to do. Like, this is something that they're trying to push. A lot of us don't want to see it. I'm not saying it, a lot of people. Let me say that. A lot of people don't want to see it. I'm here for it. It's going to be a great match. I honestly believe that. But unfortunately, I disagree with a lot of people about, they just have Brock beating the black people. I'm like, Brock is beating the white people too. It's like, who can stop him? And that's how monster heels and monster beasts, or even monster faces, that's how they should be treated sometimes. In WWE, they just doing the right thing. With it all coming to a head at WrestleMania. That's it. That's the post. Brock Lesnar will be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, or superstars, if you want to call him that, in the WWE. My favorite, and I think the best, is Undertaker. Nobody's probably going to take that spot for a very long time. But Brock is up there. Brock has been up there. Who more credible than Brock? This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.